Knicks.
No, Bo Nix.
Yeah, you know what time it is. Valhalla Hour, let's go! Kick back, put on your headphones tight. Rob and Matt, bringing fire every night. From the land of 10,000 lakes, we rule the scene. With a crew so fresh, keeping it raw and clean. Minnesota Vikings, kings of the north. We wear our purple heart and let the battle roar forth. Breaking down the game, dissecting the plays. With passion so fierce, we'll set the night ablaze. So give us a follow, hit that like. Share it with your crew, you know we're about to strike. Valhalla, our podcast, living life bold, where legends are made and stories are told.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hello. Welcome to a post-Kwesi Viking Saturday. Obviously, the big news of the week is we are kind of GM-less for right now. We got rid of one money analytics guy.
Honestly,
I can't even get one sentence out, man.
It's Robert Skinsky, whatever his name is.
Yeah, and I was getting
the
there.
cap guy.
Yeah, I'll let you take it over. Go ahead.
The cap guy, Rob Brzezinski, is our GM until after the draft.
Yeah.
Like, look at his draft history. They actually say, I'm not sitting here talking trash about him. They actually say that he's going to take over the draft. We'll find our GM. I really hope we get a GM that can build a team. Hence, like a Louis Riddick, like a draft guy. We can use him as our cap guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Louis Riddick was one of my instructors at scouting school, so I'm sending my resume in on Monday for the GM opening.
Might as well at this point. Well, like I was going to say, it just kind of cracks me up that, like, when we hired Kwesi, we knew he was an analytics guy and that he wasn't a talent scout. And that was kind of the drawback. It's like, well, we don't want an analytics guy. We want a guy that knows ball. And now everyone's super hyped that Kwesi got fired and that Rob B is going to be heading this next draft when he's also a numbers guy and not a talent scout. So I'm curious as to who the finger point is going to go to when this draft also inevitably ends up falling mostly flat.
And then on top of that, Flores is asking for an edge rusher. I mean, really, you're asking for an edge rusher?
Well, his point with that was Van Ginkel's in the last year of his contract, and he wants to keep the shelf stock in case we're not able to outbid another team and retain him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Turner and Grenard would be good.
Yeah, but we don't know if we're keeping Grenard either, though.
Yeah, I think Grenard's trade bait, and then Ginkel they'll try to re-sign.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I think Hawkinson is trade bait because of his contract. I think we're gonna try to renegotiate O'Neal. I would love to get rid of fucking injury prone. I'm sorry for Viking fans that go to these freaking tailgates. Darisaw. I want to get rid of Darisaw before I get rid of him.
No.
Yeah, let's just get rid of a top 5 left tackle. That's a great idea.
No.
One second. Everybody's talking about drafting a left tackle.
Well, no, we're drafting a swing tackle that could replace O'Neal, not Darisaw.
Swing tackle. Oh, swing, and the guy actually plays left tackle and it's been proven as a left tackle.
The two guys I've heard attached to the Vikings in the draft that would be first round potential are both right tackles.
I think,
but at the same time, I don't grade any of the tackles in this draft as a first round pick.
The biggest thing with Darisaw,
has two that could go in the first round. What are both their right and left tackle could go in the first round?
I'm not taking the right tackle in the first round, dude.
What are you going to say, Rob?
I think the biggest thing with Darisaw is for normal people, an ACL injury is 12 months. I know because I've torn my ACL, my MCL, my meniscus. Athletes, they try to bring them back a lot sooner. You look at things, Darisaw was brought back right around the 7-month mark. You know, I mean, regardless of whether he was ready, medical staff or whatever, it's a proven medical fact that it's not fully healed until 12 months. And I think they brought him back too soon. They didn't have a plan in place, for anybody at a level to hold that spot down for 3/4 of the season.
But how many seasons has there?
Brother, you gotta let somebody finish their sentence before you talk. Keep going, Rob.
I think he re-aggravated some of it. I think there was knee swelling going on, and with the way that the season was going, and when it became apparent that we were not going to be in playoff contention, I think they did pull him. Next year, I feel like that stuff will be healed up. He'll be back to where he needs to be, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. An ACL is a freak injury anyways. Yes, they happen a lot in the NFL, but I don't think he was ever at 100% this year. And I think next year, having the full offseason and putting more months behind him from that injury, it's fully healed, fully solidified. He's a top 3 fucking left tackle in the NFL.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of him. I can't get behind that.
Right.
Can I talk?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. How many seasons has Darisaw played fully?
All of them except last year when he got injured, and then the beginning of this year.
What?
And he's been one of the top 5 in the league.
He's been hurt. He's had been injured. He hasn't finished the season.
He's maybe missed a game or two here and there, but that's the thing is, like, again, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 tackle in the league. Like, we talk about Burrow in the group chat about, like, well, should the Vikings trade for Burrow? And the major knock against was like, well, no, because he's usually pretty dinged up with injuries. Should the Bengals cut Joe Burrow because he doesn't play full seasons? No, because when he's healthy, he's fucking elite. You don't just move on from elite players because they're dinged up once in a while. And like Rob was saying, I think we got a little bit of fool's gold this last offseason with not only McCarthy, but with Darisaw because he was practicing fully. We thought, oh my God, this is a miraculous turnaround. Like, he's participating in spring training. He's participating in OTAs. He's participating in training camp. Like, he should be ready to go. And he just, once the pressure of real games was on, it clearly affected his play, and he wasn't able to stay on the field. Like, but again, when he is healthy, he's top tier. Even if he only plays 12 out of 17 games a year, we're getting elite play for 12 games. I'm not cutting him and taking a major regression at tackle just because he's banged up once in a while.
And those 12 games is what gets us. If those 12 games that he plays translates into good pass protection and good run blocking and gets us 12 wins, that gets us into the playoffs right there.
Exactly.
Let's not forget we were half a game out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were one muffed coverage on a Bears punt return or a Bears kick return. And I was at that game, brought my wife to that game, her first game ever. If all we could have done was stop that kick return, we would have won that game against the Bears, and we would have been the ones in the playoffs and not the Green Bay Packers.
But would we have gone anywhere in the playoffs?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're exactly correct. We did push him way too quick.
Yeah, and ACLs tend to be a mental thing too, Rob. As you know, I did mine. I was 8th grade, 9th grade when I tore mine, and it's a mental thing. When you come back, can you be as aggressive? Can you do the same things you used to do? Your mind is telling you can't because of the injury sometimes. So you don't maybe push it as hard, or you try to push it too hard to prove it. An ACL injury is a tricky one to come back from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was 28 or 29 when I tore mine. And the funny thing of it is, we were having a men's retreat with our church at the time. So we were at a gym and a YMCA. And me always being the type that has to prove a point. I was playing basketball against a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-olds to show them the old man could still hang in there. And I was just running down the court, and all of a sudden my knee just exploded. I hit the floor just screaming in pain. You know, like my whole knee had to get rebuilt and whatever. It did take me over a year to get back from that. You know, but I'm also not a professional athlete. I was, U.S. Army soldier, happened to be playing basketball with people, way younger than me and whatever. I mean, professional athletes, you can shave some of that off, but I've trying to have somebody back. You're 5 months removed when you start participating in OTAs and spring training camp and everything else. I just really think they approached that wrong because they were just banking on him, having the same kind of miraculous recovery like what Adrian Peterson did when he tore his. That's
right.
That's very much the exception to the norm, not the norm. Regardless of who you are.
So we were still seeing it with Hawkinson.
Yeah. Yep.
Hawkinson. I honestly think Hawkinson's going to be either traded or cut this season.
He won't get cut, but he'll either be restructured or traded.
The biggest thing with Hawkinson is he's your best friend if you run a bunch of play action like what KOC likes to run. The big hang up here is if you have a quarterback that sucks ass at play action, like J.J. McCarthy, therefore it takes Hawkinson for being a very pivotal key piece to what you're doing to negating anything, because if you can't get the ball to him, especially on short crossing routes over the middle, because as soon as you turn back around to pass the ball, you're getting put on your ass or you just can't hit a wide open guy. It takes somebody that's got a lot of talent. And
Rob, I disagree with you. Who is McCarthy's favorite weapon in Michigan? It's tight end, right?
He didn't have a favorite weapon. His favorite weapon was turning around and handing the ball to Blake Corum.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's true too. But at the same time, when they did play action in Michigan, it was Loveland. It was the slot guy. It was the middle of the field guy. That's why I loved the pick of McCarthy.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: did Michigan run a bunch of play action? No, they just had him running shotgun pistol and doing straight dropbacks. And if KOC would have understood by about week 3 that McCarthy was not the guy to run play action and would have just done straight dropbacks, worked a little bit out of the pistol and the shotgun, I think it would have given McCarthy a better chance than trying to pull off this elaborate, long developing offense that he's always run with everybody else, that he ran with Cousins, that he ran with Darnold, that he ran with freaking even Josh Mullins and stuff like that. McCarthy can't do it. He may someday, he may next year, but he sure didn't do it very well this year, trying to do that play action style of stuff.
And I think
that's the biggest thing KOC has to own is failure to recognize that particular portion of it.
I agree with you there. Like, KOC is to blame on his play calling. That's why.
Yeah, but how fair is that though? When you're having to cycle 3 different quarterbacks, you can't just on the dime adjust your play calling to suit 3 different quarterbacks. Like, you obviously have a game plan that is hammered into the entire offense, not just the quarterback going into the season. And then when your quarterback that you have this playbook built around going into the season doesn't work out because he gets hurt by week 3, next thing you know, well, now we have Carson Wentz, who is able to utilize that playbook. And I feel like we have a little bit of hindsight's 2020 here, but Wentz obviously was the best.
He wasn't.
Wentz was our hurt. Can I please finish a sentence, bro? I promise you'll get to talk again. But anyway, so Wentz was our best quarterback on the field this year, and even with one arm, if he played the rest of the season and didn't get hurt, we're a playoff team. So I'll give KOC a little bit of credit. Like, you can't just flip the script and change your offense for every quarterback that steps on the field. You hope that they can do it, or they can't, and you move on. But it's hard to just completely change that around. As far as Hawkinson, my devil's advocate for the play action, whatever, and McCarthy not being able to get on the ball. Darnold was a 35 touchdown quarterback last year, and Hawkinson still had less productive stats than Josh Oliver. I think that knee injury really just took him from 100% to 70%. I don't know if he could ever get back to 100%.
That's also fair.
But I mean, again, the talker before the show started was like, with Kwesi fired now, and him essentially, it sounds like being the sole like gung ho guy for McCarthy, and the rest of the team, especially KOC, really not wanting McCarthy. Does the team just blow it up and trade McCarthy this year and get some, like Eric and I were talking about, if we just bring in a Kirk Cousins type or like a 37-year-old vet who can mentor quote unquote McCarthy? Are we wasting another year or two to let a guy that no one on the team wants here to develop, or are we blowing it up? And do you think Brzezinski will have the balls to trade for a Dak or a Burrow, or are we going to, like, what the fuck is the plan now? Essentially, no one wants McCarthy, so you can't sit there and be like, hey, he's our guy when it's leaked that no one wants him. The one guy that wanted him is no longer in the building.
Yeah. I do.
I think we go after the Green Bay guy and let McCarthy go and let McCarthy play this season. Let him be the backup to Green Bay. I forget what his freaking name is.
Malik Willis.
Yeah, I think Malik Willis. I think we go after Malik Willis or Mac Jones. Now we have to give up something for Mac Jones.
You could get him for a fifth.
But I think you're paying Malik Willis because of the success he had towards the end of the season. He's going to be a $20-25 million a year guy because he thinks he can get that. And quarterbacks. And do we want to pay that 3-year, $80 million contract for Malik Willis?
Well, and wins are wins. I get that, but McCarthy finished his 10 games as a starter with a 6-4 record, so he had a winning record. But we're all sitting here talking about how trash he is as a quarterback. Malik Willis, kind of the same thing. Most of his gaudy stats came on his legs. When he has to throw the ball downfield, he doesn't have a great arm. And it was year 4 last year. Before last year, through 3 seasons, he had 2 career touchdowns. So we're, again, sitting here talking about Mac Jones, who took 5 years to be good. We're sitting here talking about Malik Willis, who took 4 years to be good. But we're giving up on the guy that we drafted ourselves because he's not great through 10 games. So are these real, like, honest, good replacements?
That's why I say Mac Jones. I want Mac Jones for a 5th or a 4th or 5th versus Malik Willis. But at the same time, you look at it. Look at what we did with Sam Darnold. What was Sam Darnold before he came here?
Yeah, but he stayed good.
But you look at Baker Mayfield, same kind of projection that Sam Darnold had. Early, number 1 draft pick. Didn't pan out in Cleveland, went to Carolina, then went to Tampa, where he's had not great success, but he is top 15, top 12 type quarterback. But it just took him to get the right system.
Have some news. I have some news for the audience. It's not exactly breaking because it came out an hour ago. But the Vikings have let go the O-line coach, which is long overdue, and everything else. We are hiring former Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith to be assistant head coach. And what they're doing is they're moving Keith Carter to be the offensive line coach.
What? Like what? Like why wouldn't we Flores? Why not Flores as assistant?
There's a madness to the method, I'm guessing.
Like I'm dropping my phone on that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That tells me that KOC is open to handing play calling duties to someone else. In 2023, Frank Smith was voted as the number 1 offensive coordinator in the NFL, according to the NFL Players Association surveys. So we got a competent ringer in there in a position as to where he can really augment that type of stuff, which I think KOC, if they're going to really, really stick with McCarthy or whatever, even though I do feel like we're bringing a veteran in. We'll talk about the vacant GM position here quick. I think that gives him flexibility to really focus on that quarterback whisperer role while somebody else competent can call the game plan that he wants to be called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that. I thought they would bring in somebody outside to do the O-line, but on that note, immediately after the AFC Championship game, I shouldn't say immediately, within a couple days, Denver fired their defensive backs coach.
And their offensive coordinator.
But he's had pretty decent success with that. That defensive backfield in Denver hasn't been terrible. They didn't get a lot of turnovers this year, but can that be completely put on a defensive backs coach? If you needed you need pressure from your front seven or your front five, front four, whatever you want to say, to help with those turnovers too. So, that may be an option to go with replacing Durante Jones too.
I'm like, our D-backs coach didn't produce a ton of turnovers this last offseason, and he got a promotion to defensive coordinator. So,
well, and here's the setup to what we're talking about. You have another great offensive mind in here. So Rob Brzezinski, our 20-plus year money guy that's the best in the business of being able to work the cap, because he's a cap expert and everything else, is going to basically oversee the draft. But the coaches are going to be having a committee and figuring out who's going to be picked. That brings a lot of credentials, a lot of viewpoint, and a lot of knowledge in that room, because if our scouting department is failing miserably, that's one thing. Or if it was just Kwesi not listening to him, that's another. We don't know. But they're assembling knowledge to be in that draft room for draft day. I don't know if they'll ever, if this draft goes well and we have a good season, or if the optics just even look good that we didn't fuck this draft up. Could Rob ever be promoted to GM? I don't know, because like you said earlier, he is he is a contract specialist. He is a money guy. He's also been around the organization long enough to see all the hits and misses too. And if he can at least run the cap situation the way he has for the past 2 decades, listen to the coaches, put the name in, and it works, could he be the GM? I don't know.
Well, so let me go one
GM somewhere else. Sorry, hasn't he been GM somewhere else? Because I could have swore I listened to the podcast.
No, he's been he's been the contract negotiator and the cap specialist and the money guy for the Vikings since for 21 years, I think.
Yeah, he's like vice president of player operations or something like that.
Yeah, he's the executive vice president of all operations. Because
Mark
Will is
there's
still
some good
considered. What's that?
I'm gonna sit here and throw out a name. I wanted the Vikings to do before the draft even. Louis Riddick.
You know what? Those guys like that. Louis Riddick is amazing. I've got to speak with him when I did my scouting school. He's a brilliant mind. But I think the Blaylock situation and the Raiders had will keep those those high-profile draft quote-unquote experts from being GMs, like a McShay or even Louis Riddick's a brilliant mind, but I don't know if he would want to do a GM thing anymore.
Well, so Rob B, like we're sitting here talking about how he's not going to be the talent scout. Like no one's expecting him to go out there over the next 2 months and go to senior days and all this stuff to evaluate talent. He's going to rely on our scouts and our coaching. But if it turns out that KOC was the mastermind behind this next draft, and we draft a good draft and we become a playoff team and win some playoff games, do the Vikings give KOC the Belichick treatment and go, hey, guess what? You're the head coach and GM. Like, you obviously know how to bring in talent, and you finally produced a winning team and a playoff team. Like, do we go that far, or do we still bring in, like, a face as a GM? Like, again, this whole situation is just so fucking wonky that, like, there's no successor plan in place until after the draft.
Which leads me to believe that if they don't hand it over to KOC, like you said, like a Belichick situation, he's got a pretty long leash on this season if things don't go well because they didn't have a GM. You know, they may give him a free out as far as if the rookie use. I don't know. That's an interesting situation. So, but
I said this in the chat, and I'll say this right now: the timing of the firing of Kwesi is horrible.
They said he was at the Senior Bowl 3 days ago. Like, it's really weird.
I would have fired him the 10 minutes after they walked off the field in week 18 after the last game. But
that's me and you, Rob.
Here's also what I'm reading into this, and this is a big read into. And if you guys disagree, that's cool. It's just one perspective. Because when I see that, I was like, what? You're going to have Rob run it through the draft? What? Rob is running this through the draft? But then I got to sitting there and thinking, that tells me they want a GM, but there's no clear-cut 1, 2, or 3 guys out there that's available right now that they really want. So I think they're just biding their time, and they're hoping that other teams have some more personnel changes and everything leading up to the draft, and there's a bigger talent pool for general manager candidates than what exists right now on January 31st, right?
Or they're going to use the draft as an evaluation tool to see how some of these other teams draft. Because I was looking, the top 3 candidates are from the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions. Those are the top 3 GM candidates as like assistant GMs. And I'm like, do we really want to stay within the division to hire a GM? I don't know. I think Indy's got
the Packers assistant GM. The Packers drafts haven't been great lately either.
No. But
none of the drafts have been great. Like, seriously, like the only draft I can sit there and say is the Bears.
No, Detroit's been drafting extremely well.
Detroit, but not lately.
I think it was the 22 or 23 draft. The Lions took every player I had highlighted on my big board. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? As soon as they would say the Lions pick, and I was like, dude, that's on my big board. Like, that was one of the guys I wanted for the Vikings. It was like every name.
It was 2023.
It's their GM.
I agree. I went to Kansas City to that draft, and every time the Lions picked, I'm like, damn it, that's who I wanted us to get. You know, it's like fucking Brad Holmes, you know.
Holmes was the guy that drafted those guys.
Yeah, no, we don't. But my thing, though, with you, Rob, is like, if that is their philosophy and that's their plan, is to see if there's some shakeups on these other teams and what talent's going to shake from those trees. Like, we're sitting here talking about the timing with Kwesi being fired being questionable because the ball's already rolling for all these senior days. Are these other teams going to fire their assistants even later than that? Like, who's going to be dropping that's going to be worth hiring over the next 2 months? That's going to be able to come in and I mean, that was the situation with Kwesi's first draft. Is he had 2 months with Rick's scouts to try to put together a talent pool to draft 11 players, and obviously, like outside of Jalen Naylor, there's not a single person from that draft that's on this team. Like, it would just be that all over.
Jalen Naylor is a free agent.
I think I saw somewhere where since Kwesi took over as GM in that time period, only one team has had their drafted players have less start games played. I think we had 167 games played by our rookies since, or the players drafted since Kwesi took over, which is like 30.
We only had 2 players, 2 or 3 players. Let's be real.
And Matthew, I agree. That perspective actually makes sense, and nothing about this is normal with the timing of it. So then, if I end up being wrong about they don't feel there's enough talent out there right now, there may not be enough talent later, then what I'm thinking is they really are actually kind of serious about seeing what happens with Rob. And here's the thing. You don't have to be an expert on everything. You know, 3 of the 4 of us were in the military. When you're in a leadership position, like if you're a platoon sergeant of, let's say, a distribution platoon or a maintenance platoon or something like that, you're not going to be an expert and have every single MOS of all those 30 some soldiers that you've got with all your different specialties and everything. All you have to know is how to get the feedback from them and then make good decisions accordingly. So if Rob can listen to his scouts, listen to all of his coaching staff and everything,
Net order code reds,
and it comes to we get through this draft, this is what we got. Either this looks really good or it's going to look really bad and everything. If Rob can execute that, maybe they do give it to him. Because you don't have to be an expert on everything. All you have to do is be able to understand talent where you see them with people on your staff, bring them in, and be able to communicate effectively. It seems like,
and that's what
Rick Spielman versus Zimmer and Kwesi versus KOC, the communication part and just being the communication part, I think, between the GM and the coaches is what's been killing us for the past 15 years.
Yeah, I think they may do a in-depth dive on prospective GMs. Like they may want to take their time and look at some of these guys, or there's even a couple women on the list, so we'll see how that looks. But they may just want to do a really, really in-depth interview process. Maybe that's why they're handing it to Rob for now, because I think the GM, from my viewpoint, is the go-between between the scouts and ownership and the coaching staff. And I think the biggest thing about being a GM is knowing or having an eye for scouts. Maybe that I might be off on that, but that would be, as the guy who's in charge, you might not want to be the expert on picking out players, but pick out the guys who can pick out the players. And maybe that's where a football guy is better than an analytics guy as a GM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second. Isn't it a team thing, right?
Should be.
Should be
a team thing, right? Like, I think Rob Brzezinski guy should be the GM. He's been in our conversations for how long? How many years?
He's in our conversations for being a cap guy, though, and that's what Kwesi was good at, was not overpaying players and knowing when to cut people and move on. Like, that was Kwesi's strength, was his ability to manage cap. Okay. That's all Rob's been good at.
Rob has been the biggest genius over 2 decades in the NFL. When everybody's like, oh, the Vikings are going to suck next year, you're going to win 3 games because you're $50 million over the cap and you can't do anything. And by the time kickoff of the first regular season game starts, not only do we get every player that we want in free agency, we signed all of our rookies, and we're in business. I mean, nobody's better than Rob in the entire NFL at contracts, cap, and negotiations. Now,
I agree. My sentence.
Which makes me wonder, with the Hargrave and Jonathan Allen contracts, they were heavy loaded to the second year. I mean, I think Allen is a massive cap hit if we cut him this year. Was that Rob or was that Kwesi that worked those deals? That's that's a weird.
That's my question too. But at the same time, let me finish my sentence. Like, let him get people behind him that can do this scouting, that can build his team. He's been with us for a long time, right?
As a cap guy, not a talent scout. Let's clear that up.
Yeah, but he can get a talent scout. This guy, I have faith in the Vikings. I have faith in our team.
But that's been my argument this entire time, of people, like, not even just today, but I've been not a Kwesi supporter, but at least a defender, is like, he has to rely on his coaching. Brother, let me finish. I'm talking about me. I said that's why not you. So that's why I've been defending Kwesi, because he has to rely on coaches. He has to rely on scouts. And so are the scouts and coaches giving him good information. And now we're going to see with Rob B if it was Kwesi that was swinging and missing, or if we just have shitty scouts. Because if we have a 10 Huh?
Very good point.
Yeah, so I mean, we have what 10 picks in the draft this year. If we walk away and we only have one decent player, like Kwesi's had with Donovan Jackson, like with Dallas Turner, like with Jordan Addison, and the other 9 picks are just kind of forgettable. Who?
I would have taken Porter over Addison.
Okay, that's 2 terrible takes of you today. Anyways,
yeah.
No, I just 1 second. Outside of the field, let's talk outside of the field.
Rob's been with the Vikings for 27 years, 33 years in the NFL. I just looked it up.
27. I thought it was like 21, but no, that's actually freaking impressive.
I mean, how long was Sugarman here? Should we have made him a GM?
Yeah, right. He was here for a long. Well, what about the guy Sugarman's predecessor was here like 40 years?
Right. We should have made him a GM. He was here for 40 years. Like, no, and another thing that's fishy to me is again the report that came out about how the team never liked Kwesi from the start. Like there was just animosity. He never fitted. The first 2 years, we saw KOC and Kwesi at Wild games, at Twins games, and they were like dapping it up, and they looked like bros. It didn't look like a relationship that was like just animosity from the get-go, and just the team never really accepted Kwesi. So it seems that Kwesi is just the very obvious scapegoat. He was the one that was thrown under the bus. We're going to find out this year if it was Kwesi that couldn't identify talents or if it's scouts that can't identify talents. Now, John, to your point, if it's the scouts, hopefully Rob Brzezinski could be the one to recognize like, oh shit, like you guys just don't know what the fuck you're looking at. And then maybe we can bring in some new scouts. But then again, it's another year down the drain.
Matt, I don't know what your name is, but I agree with you. Like I honestly agree with you. Like I don't know who's to blame in this. I think that the play calling was horrible. First of all, KOC blaming his quarterback on mechanical issues when you could coach that.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem with the disconnect between general manager and coach is you don't come out week 4 and say my quarterback has mechanical issues we still need to fix, or week 3 or whatever it was, and not have a reliable second option. Maybe is the way to talk about that. Like, well, somewhere there was a disconnect between Kwesi and O'Connell, and I think O'Connell wanted more experience or somebody as a bridge quarterback in going through this last season, whereas Kwesi was like, I drafted McCarthy, he is going to play. Now, these are just my thoughts. I don't have any information on this, is what was said, but where was it? Kwesi was saying, I drafted this guy, we need him to play. Where O'Connell's saying, no, I need another bridge until he's ready to go. And Kwesi didn't get him that. I don't know. But like you were saying, Matthew, there was no disconnect that you noticed in public view. They joked, even at last year's draft, O'Connell walked in wearing a fake mustache to look like Kwesi.
Right.
So it looked like they had a very tight, close relationship. So I think it came down to they're not happy with the way that the ownership isn't happy with the direction the team is going. So somebody's got to take the fall. And O'Connell is very popular right now. He is a high, we put a lot of profile on him. Kwesi's kind of behind the scenes. He's going to take the axe. He is our scapegoat, so to speak. I think I think their relationship was probably fine from what we could tell publicly.
Right.
So, Kellen Mond came out and another player came out and just talked shit about Zimmer and Spielman again, 4 or 5 days ago. Like, this is insane. And then, like, the fact that Kwesi 3 days ago was at the Senior Bowl, something like this came out of nowhere. So I don't know.
I don't think we take a rookie quarterback this season. I guarantee that.
Oh, I think we should take a late round pick. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna go after Mac Jones or we're gonna go after. I'm gonna sit here and say Anthony Richardson.
That
No,
may be an
hard pass.
I think if they want competition, they go after Mac Jones. If they want McCarthy to sit and learn another year, they go after Kirk. If they want a competent backup and they're going to run with JJ, they go with like a Garoppolo.
Yeah,
Someone who,
I mean,
those kind of
Garoppolo wasn't gonna do any major things to make him compete, to make him want to play.
That's why I'm saying if they want to run with JJ and he's their starter, they go with a Garoppolo. If they want competition, they get a Mac Jones. If they want him to sit and learn, they go with a Kirk Cousins or maybe even a Kyler Murray type and let them run the show. You know, a Mac Jones or an Anthony Richardson or competition. If you want JJ to run it and start day one, you come out, you know, as soon as training camp starts and say, McCarthy's our guy, you put Garoppolo behind him. That's my viewpoint.
but going back to what you were just saying, Eric, about like, was Kwesi the one that was pushing for McCarthy to start? Was KOC behind the scenes going like, hey, we need a better bridge this year? Like, it was no secret that the team was interested in bringing in Aaron Rodgers. And according to Pro Football Talk, like, the team wanted Rodgers, and Kwesi's the one that said absolutely not. And Kwesi's the one that offered Darnold a 1-year deal, which apparently, from what I heard today, the 1-year amount was similar to what Seattle was paying him per year, but we just weren't willing to offer him 3 years. We were going to be like, hey, we'll give you $35 million for the year. Darnold said no. They're going to pay me $100 over 3. Can't fault him for taking that. And I guess we offered a similar amount for Daniel Jones, where apparently it was well over the $10 million for the year mark. But Daniel Jones was like, well, I want to start, and I know that if I stay here, I'm going to be behind McCarthy because Kwesi's pushing for McCarthy to be the guy. So that's why I'm asking, like, if the team itself, including the head coach, is sitting here going like, hey, this guy's mechanics are trash. I have to completely tear him down and rebuild him from square one, but I can't fucking do that because I can't stay healthy more than 3 games. Why are we sitting here talking about, like, who are we going to bring in to develop McCarthy? It doesn't sound like anybody that's currently on the team wants to develop McCarthy. It sounds like they want to bring in someone that can win, and if we bring in someone that can win, why are we not keeping that guy that can win? That's the whole knock with us getting rid of Darnold. Is like, he was meant to be a 1-year option. No one took him seriously when we brought him in. He threw 35 touchdowns. We won 14 games. And now people are saying, like, well, why did we extend it for 10 years? He's the future of the NFL. Like, well, no. But now we're going to have the same situation this year where if we bring in somebody and they ball the fuck out, McCarthy's as good as gone. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, we need to swing for a heavy hitter like Dak or like Burrow or someone that can give us a legitimate shot to make deep playoff runs. Anthony Richardson, he's in year 3. He took himself out of a fucking game because he was tired. He also can't stay healthy. That's a terrible option. Mac Jones, he had like 4 really good games in San Francisco last year. But if the 49ers have shown us anything, is they sold their souls to the fucking devil. No matter how many injuries they have, no matter who they have at quarterback, they're going to be a playoff team. Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't see any of these quarterbacks coming into the Vikings and being anything more than a competent backup. Like, is the goal to win 10 games and go one and done, or is the goal to win a fucking ring? Like, what are we doing?
So my question for you, Matthew, is with, like, next year's quarterback draft looks pretty healthy. If we make a big deal for Burrow, are we forfeiting future after Burrow by giving up something like that? Or do we feel Burrow has 3, 4, 5 years left in him?
Burrow, absolutely. He's 29. He could have 5 or 6 years left in him. And look what the Wild did with Quinn Hughes. We gave up 2 really, really fucking good young prospects and high picks to get Quinn Hughes, because it's like, hey, would we rather have 2 years with a legitimate window, or do we want to keep being the Minnesota Wild and relying on these draft picks to develop and being like, we get a 90 points a year, but we're out in the first round every year? I would rather the Vikings make a fucking swing and be like, hey, we're putting all of our chips into the Joe Burrow table, and we're going to give the fans a legitimate 4-year window to win a ring. Or, yeah, we could wait and see if Archie Manning develops into a Super Bowl level quarterback in 4 years. Like, I would take the guy that's elite, has shown he can be elite, and if we fail, we can be like, hey, we fucking tried,
God.
versus what the Vikings have been doing for 60 years and going like, hey, we haven't drafted a good quarterback in 25 years. Let's just keep continuing that trend and hope one day it pays off.
I think devil's advocate a little bit there, because I think if we can get Burrow without giving up too much of the future, I think the window for Jefferson, Darisaw, Hawkinson is so to get that Burrow who can sling it, who can run, who can do some shit. I think that's not a bad option either. It's really not. But at what point do we stay away from the Herschel Walker issue? That's what I do. Because you said giving up 90 points, right? I was just looking. There were 3 teams in the top 15. All 12 playoff teams all the playoff teams were in the top 15 on defense of points allowed. The only 3 teams.
I was talking about the Wild. The Wild will get like 90 points in a season and get a first round playoff bid, and then we lose.
Okay, but what we were saying was all the playoff teams were in the top 15 this year of points allowed on defense. The 3 teams that weren't in the playoffs that were in the top 15 were the Chiefs, were right above us, and then shit. Now I forgot. Oh crap! I can't remember. But yeah, all the playoff teams were in the top 15 on points allowed on defense.
Yeah. What's up, John?
No, it's not worth it.
I think there is value to putting all your chips in if it's feasible to get Burrow and we're not mortgaging the entire future. We have to make a playoff push with this roster that we have on offense, at least, because we're not going to see that kind of talent. I mean, we'll have
Doesn't Burrow have a no trade clause?
We'll have a good running back there and everything. We're not going to have this group. A competent quarterback next year could be another 15-win thing. I do realize the optics of what it looks like with Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl right now. The Seattle Seahawks simply outbid us, and we couldn't scramble to counter offer that, and we lost him. Is it managed? Is it organizational blame on the part of the GM? Yes. Everything blew up in our face. They thought they had a contingency with Daniel Jones. That blew up in our face. There's all kinds of things that went wrong. I do want to shift gears here real quick, just to circle back. Go ahead.
Before you switch, I had one more thing to say about the trade package for Burrow before we move on. The tweet that came out this last week allegedly was like the entertained offer, or the offer that the Vikings could entertain since he was J.J. McCarthy, Jonathan Grenard, and 2 first-round picks. If we give up those 2 first-round picks, if we have Joe Burrow, I mean, our defense last year with scrubs was 7th in yards and 3rd in points, or vice versa. But we were top 10 on both sides, or on both points and yards on defense with scrubs. So if we're getting rid of McCarthy, who no one wants, Grenard, who, I mean, Dallas Turner can replace him, maybe not to that extent, but still, it's not going to drop us from the 7th defense to the bottom 15 defense. And those 2 first-round picks, if we have Burrow, those are going to be late 20s, hopefully the pick 32 if all goes well. So is that really mortgaging the future of getting rid of a quarterback no one wants? Grenard, who's only going to be here 2 more years anyway, and 2 first-round picks that are going to be at the end of the first round? I don't think it is.
Okay, Burrow has a no trade clause, guys.
You can waive it.
Yeah, but if he wants, he may say that Cincinnati hasn't given me a defense, because if they're scoring tons of points and not winning, the Vikings have made at least an attempt to build an offensive line, even though it didn't pan out. He may say, I'll go to the Vikings. I'll throw to Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and hand the ball off to Jordan Mason and a rookie running back, whether it be the backup from Notre Dame or the kid from Washington or whatever it may be. He may say yes, even though Cincinnati did come out and say they are not trading Joe Burrow. But we've all seen that go out the window real fast.
Yeah. We're not trading Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, and what a haul we got, by the way. This just came up, and I don't want to keep beating a dead horse to death, but just to circle back to the open GM position real quick. So this is coming from Purple PTSD, which they have some good insights every now and then, and in fact, quite often they have good insights.
They're not bad.
So GM candidates, and this is coming right off of their thing from a guy named Brev Main on Twitter. So first of all, he says Robert Brzezinski, the obvious, with the Vikings organization since 1999, executive vice president of football operations since 2014. Okay. John McKay, LA Rams. He's been with the Rams for 10 years, 4 years of experience as director of player personnel, also serves as assistant director of pro scouting, named Rams assistant GM ahead of the 2025 season. Alec Helby from Philadelphia began with the Eagles in 2007, been assistant general manager in Philly since 22. And George Kokinis from Baltimore began as a scout for Cleveland in 91, has bounced between the Ravens and Browns in various roles for the last 35 years. Baltimore's director of player personnel from 19 to 23 before promotion to vice president of player personnel in 24. So that looks like who's available right now.
Give me the first guy.
So I looked it up too, Rob. One George, whatever. I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Babe, shut up. My dog's barking. He was on the list. A guy, Ian Cunningham from the Bears, Ed Dobbs from the Colts, Catherine Hickman from the Browns, Glenn Cook from the Browns, Champ Kelly from the. I wouldn't take
nothing
it away
from the Browns.
Matt Berry from Seattle, Trey Brown from Cincinnati, or some of the names that ESPN or NFL Network. What's her name? Colleen. I can't remember her name, but that's her list of candidates.
Rob,
so there's people out there. Yeah.
Give me the guy from the LA Rams that Rob said.
I'm with you. The Rams traded their future for that ring by bringing in players like Stafford. And it was like, well, they had 5 straight drafts without a first round pick. And everyone's like, well, after their future is shot now because they got rid of all this draft capital. And what are they doing? They're still fucking making deep playoff runs. They're still drafting really good talent. Like they got Puka, they got those first round picks they gave up for 4 or 5 straight years did nothing to fucking hamper that team.
What was Puka?
And what round was Puka drafted in? 7? Right?
Puka was a 5th rounder, I think, wasn't he?
I think it was a
5th?
6, but I could be wrong.
Go outside.
But like I said, give me that Rams guy.
Right. Yeah, the fact that they haven't skipped a beat after giving up what they gave up for that run for the Super Bowl is kudos to them.
Yeah, because they gave up first rounders for Stafford and for Ramsey, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they had 4 or 5 straight drafts without a first round pick, and it did nothing to hamper that team.
And they had a really cool Malibu beach house for their draft headquarters too. Come on now.
Let's say that we do pull off a ballsy move and we're dead serious. We're making a Super Bowl run next year because we're a couple pieces away. We need a quarterback and a couple of spots on offensive line. If they do make a ballsy moves, like they go out and they do whatever it takes to get Joe Burrow, we almost certainly have to ensure that we have a center and competent backups at left and right tackle, because it does no good to bring in Joe Burrow if he gets his ass beat.
Right.
That's the Carson Wentz scenario from last year I'm talking about. Right? He got his ass beat so bad he got knocked out for the season. If we're gonna make a move like that, we have to do the whole move, which includes, we have to upgrade our backups on offensive line. I am okay with Blake Grandel as center, but not so much as I would having a top tier guy. If you're going to pay all that money for Joe B, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, we got to make sure we keep Joe B healthy, or we're going to.
We can bring Schlottman back at center.
I mean, yeah. But that's the beauty of having 10 picks, though, is if we do have to give up this year's first and next year's first for Burrow, we still have 9 picks to shore up that O line. Like, I would not mind throwing 3 or 4 picks at just beefy fucking 6'2", 6'3", 330 plus dudes to plug and play and hope that one of them pans out. Like, we've talked before about how there's not a ton of first round talent on O line. So throw both our thirds. We have a natural third and a compensatory third. Throw them both at one at center, one at tackle. Like, just because we're giving up a first rounder doesn't mean we have to neglect the O line. Like, we've shown that we can have a decent secondary with scrubs. We still have our D line for 1 more year, so we don't have to throw it. Like, I know Flores allegedly wants an edge rusher. Suck it up. You had a top 10 defense. We need a top 10 offense. Like, give Burrow, give up the first, draft a fucking center with our second rounder, draft a tackle with our third rounder.
And that's my thing. Like, why do we need to draft? Why do we have to draft the edge rusher in the first round?
It doesn't have to be a first rounder. He just says he wants one.
He wants one in the first.
Well, one of the top. So we have 4 picks in the top 100 as of right now. I think he wants one of them to go to an edge rusher. But I mean, seriously, if we're picking at 18 and Bain is there, you have to take him.
Yeah. I think you can kind of do best player available there.
Yeah. I mean, you have to take him.
I agree. Taking best player available.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm just saying if Bain from Miami, Bain Jr. falls to 18, that's your best player available because he's a top 5. I've seen some guys say he's the number 1 pick overall. So,
jeez.
If someone like that falls to 18, you just can't say we don't need an edge rusher right now. You say, okay, we're going to draft him, and now Grenard becomes huge trade bait.
Yeah.
Well, and that gets directly to Moses'
But
question.
at the same time,
2 number 1s to get Joe Burrow, not if we are putting players in the package like
right.
Grenard.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be players and picks. Yeah. Which is something Cincy can desperately use as a good pass rusher.
Not going past 5.
No, he shouldn't. I'm just saying if someone like that falls, you have to jump on. You have to jump on it. I don't think he will make it out of the top 4. But if stranger things have happened in the NFL, Dallas Turner was projected to be the best defensive player in that draft. And he was just 7. What we took him at 17? We traded up with Houston. And
well,
supposed to be the best defense in that draft. Things happen.
And I hope you guys watched that video clip I put in the group and everything. Nothing to do with the fact that the guy's an Iowa Hawkeye, but if we could get Jennings Dunker with his diet at 340 pounds of eating Culver's fast food, drinking 36 ounces of coffee a day, and he's got a fucking mullet, I am all in on that shit.
What position?
On this team.
What position, dumb?
That was that NFL Network interview at that Senior Bowl. That I was almost in tears, crying, laughing over that shit.
It reminds me of what's his name from the Denver.
We don't need a tackle. We don't, and in the first round. I'm being real.
Said yes. No. If Fano falls from Utah, who has 1,500 career starts at right tackle and has given up 4 sacks, you got to take him. He's the best player. I don't see him getting out of the top 10, but if he falls, you take that pick.
My mock drafts has had him right there.
1 second. We have a top 10 right tackle right now.
Who's also 30, and you want to talk about Darrison never being healthy. O'Neal's also constantly hurt.
We're out of time, you guys. We are out of time. We will be back next Saturday at the same time, same station. Thank you guys for watching. Skull.
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 Yeah, yo, it's game time. Ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports. Just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken. Stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.